the city council meeting for Monday, November 13th to order. Please rise and join me in the flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Somebody does the roll call.
Dina.
Dina, would you please do the roll call?
Sure.
Councilmember Franco.
Here.
Councilmember Cook.
Here.
Councilmember Fairley.
Here.
Councilmember Osborne. Here. Councilmember Thomas.
Here. Public hearing.
Yes, so we have Miss Tara here who's gonna, you'll just have to open the hearing first for the first item.
I'd like to open the public hearing for item A, 2024 revenue sources at 7:01.
Good evening, Council Mayor. The purpose of this is to have a public hearing on revenue sources. This is specific to general fund revenue and street fund revenue. So they're the only funds supported by property tax, and it is a precursor to the property tax ordinance first read that will occur later this evening. Basically, the intent is to provide our revenue estimates for next year and give council information to use to consider whether a 1% increase in property taxes should be levied next year or not. In the revenue estimates, there are a few significant changes from 2023 projections to 2024 budget amounts. The most significant is in intergovernmental revenue, which we're projecting to increase roughly $126,000 due to an increase in wetland grants, and then also some additional recycling grant funds. And then on the charges for services line item, we're projecting a decrease in revenue due to the income transfer station reimbursement program, which is projected to come in 2023. So we don't have any revenue currently included in the 2024 budget. All of the other revenues are pretty stable and consistent with 2023 actuals. I'd be happy to answer questions on any of the revenue estimates. It would be helpful. On the street side, I should point out the street transfers and revenue is going down significantly. Expenses are going down in the streets. We don't have any capital projects requiring a match, so street expenses are going down. Therefore, the subsidy required from the general fund is decreasing in 2024.
So one revenue source that we found out late last week, but we didn't get the information to Tara, my apologies. We received a DOJ grant to fund an officer for 3 years, $124,000 for 3 years. So that would be added to the revenue numbers that she just said.
So is that going to be listed as a term limited?
So we have to keep it on. We have to keep the officer employed 1 year after the 3 years.
Anybody have any questions? Any questions from you guys? So I'll close the public hearing at 7:03. We'll open a public hearing for item B, preliminary budget the preliminary 2024 budget at 7:04.
Again, public opportunity to comment on the preliminary budget, which has had no changes made since the first read, which happened in October, second week in October.
They get a nice cover photo, right?
Yes, wait for the final.
And just as a reminder to council that you'll still have 2 more reads of the budget, so scheduled for
Do you guys have any questions on the budget?
No, I don't think so.
Anybody in the audience have any questions on the budget? So we'll close the public hearing at 7:05.
Make a motion, we approve the agenda.
And real quick on the agenda, we have an executive session. We don't have an attorney present, so we do ask for it to be changed to a closed session. We have an executive session later on the agenda. We don't have an attorney present, so it needs to be changed to a closed session.
Did we get a second on the approval agenda?
We have to modify our.
Yeah, we
You
need
can
to
modify
modify.
it, yes.
I make a motion, we change executive session 13A to a closed session.
I second
Any questions? Approve, say aye.
it. Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passed.
Make a motion, we approve the agenda as modified.
I'll second.
Any questions? Approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any questions? Approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Thank you. Reports?
I have nothing new to report, as soon.
Thank you. Mr. Cook?
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Fairley?
No, nothing.
Thank you. Ms. Osborne?
Yes, I did some phone calling this afternoon from my home and talked to an insurance company that I've dealt with for a while and found out that it is still possible for the city or any other business to bond an employee. So if the employee causes a problem or a cost, we would get reimbursement for that and not lose everything like we have in the past. And if we are interested, I will acquaint myself with her and talk to her more about it. I didn't want to get into it too much unless I had been aware of it for a long time because I was bonded at one time through the insurance company because of the money that I handled. And I just thought it and thought, you know, this could be our answer. And maybe not. But I wanted to make the members aware that this is available to us and I would find out more information if we're interested.
Thank you.
You have impeccable timing. I was just filling out the paperwork today.
It's what?
I was just filling out the paperwork today for it.
Oh, were you?
You have impeccable timing, yes.
Well, I couldn't do anything else and I wanted to talk to him anyway, so I thought this is a good opportunity to get my questions answered.
Yeah, no, it's great. I love it. Yeah, so EWC does it through the RMSA.
So,
Yep, we're gonna get all the paperwork.
I think it's a very good move.
Oh, definitely.
Thank you, Linda.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Thomas?
No reports at this time.
Thank you. Mr. Avery?
On the public works part, we had 3 water main leaks. 2 of those were service saddles that rusted out. We did have one that was a shear break, actually. It was down in Washington. And we repaired those and we had to replace some asphalt and stuff. But, they got on them pretty quick and got fixed, so the water outage was minimal. So, the Tacoma Boulevard water main replacement's going very well. They flushed the main and took the water sample today, so it's pretty much all in, except for maybe the last 20 feet. And then once the water test comes back positive or negative, they'll start do the tie-in and then transfer the services over probably next week, and then it'll be just a matter of doing some cleanup after that, and then that project will be complete. So, we also finished, Public Works finished a storm system on 3rd Avenue going from I think kind of towards 2nd Avenue. There's some houses back in there that had some flooding issues, and we shot some elevations and got with the engineering and stuff, and it was agreed to put this storm system in, but they did complete that, so that should eliminate some flooding in that area, probably about 5 to 6 houses. So they were able to complete that project this year too. I think that's all I have. Unless you got any questions.
Hey, Russ, we've had some significant rains over the last several weeks. I'm just wondering how our system fared during that time.
So far, it's been doing pretty good. Probably one of our major areas is 11th Avenue over there, and their water levels seem to be holding since we did the 167 ditch. So
That's good to know.
yeah.
Chief. Good evening, Council, Mayor. Like I alluded to earlier, late last week we received notice from the Department of Justice that we received funding for an additional officer for the next 3 years. And as Councilmember Thomas wisely asked, hey, what's the obligation after that? And it's 1 year after that. I would say in the next 3 years, everybody here knows that our population will probably grow more than likely, and we will be under the national average if we didn't plan ahead and get the funding for this additional officer. Not to mention, before I came up here a couple of weeks ago, I gave you numbers. For the first time since I've worked here in 16 years, we're going to hit 5,000 calls for service. We're at 5,300 as of today. So, and the year's not over yet. This weekend was extremely busy. I would say a fifth of the calls that we went to over the last month have been in the city of Pacific. So it's something I plan to address once they get a police chief. So training, we have 2 officers in field training. They're doing well. We're going to have them in front of you for the ceremonial swearing in. And the reason they're not here tonight, we don't have the uniforms. So I don't want to bring them up here until they look good and presentable. So you may notice I'm wearing a beard. I was asked by the crew if they could take part in No Shave November, but what I did is yes nails, No Shave November, so you can paint your nails whatever color you want. I relaxed the policy around fingernails and beards. And so if they're going to do it, I'm going to do it. And so you see me, I don't have painted fingernails, not going to. But there are some members of the A team that do, and I'm very proud of them. And so we're all doing it as a team. Officer Johnson gave me his notice that he'll be moving on to the city of Auburn as of December 1st. So again, sorry to be a hiring bonus. And Officer Johnson's been with us 3 years, 6 months. We're going to miss him, but he's going to be right next door. Auburn's his hometown. And those of you that don't know, he coaches football there. So this is kind of his dream job. And initially, when he tried to get into law enforcement, they passed him over. And so it's kind of been a milestone for him. But again, I'm going to miss Elijah. He's my best officer. But I wish him well. Blue Christmas. Every year instead of doing shop with the cop, we pick 5 families here in town. We put Santa Claus in a patrol car, aka retired Chief Sanford, and we go to their house. So we're in the process of identifying those 5 families. If you want to take part, donate some toys. Kari is the person to see, and we've ramped that up. We're not going to have a police department banquet this year. We believe in doing stuff with the whole city. So we're just going to take part in the awards luncheon with the rest of the city. The mayor and I and the city administrator talked about that this morning. I think that's the best bet. One big team. So, other than that, I'll stand for any questions.
Please, when you're ready to do the food baskets or stuff, let me know and we'll work with you.
I'll have Ms. Carter reach out to you.
Jessica.
Yes, so Chief stole my thunder. We are doing a staff banquet December 7th from noon to 2. We'll do awards for the staff and recognize all their hard work throughout the year. We also have the tree lighting coming up on December 9th from 5 to 7. It'll be just behind City Hall here. The elected officials training is coming up December 9th. If the council would like to do it here in City Hall, I can reach out to AWC and make sure that's possible. I think it might be beneficial to just have it all in one place and everyone can do the training at once. Otherwise, we'll have to have you log in and from home and do it that way.
What date is that again?
Saturday, December 9th.
Well, the tree lighting day.
It is, yep. It's a big day. Blue Christmas, tree lighting, essential training for electeds.
Can I get a list of all that stuff from you?
Yeah, of course.
Because I didn't write it down, but I want to know where what's going on.
Yeah, I can do that for you.
Thank you.
And then, so would council be interested in doing it in person rather than virtual?
Can we go to that in there?
Yep, yep.
That'd
You
be
just
great.
put it on the screen and.
Sure.
About you, Mr. White? Yeah. I'll reach out to them and just verify that it's okay. I'm sure it is, but. And then at the next council meeting, we're gonna bring forward a budget amendment. I just wanted to give you a heads up. It's gonna be for the street retainage and for the city administrator position. I feel like I'm missing something.
The grant I talked about today?
Oh, the waterworks grant. I do need to move some money around on that. It didn't get put to the right. So that should be the big two, but that could be things. So yeah, look for that at the next meeting. We also talked about in the workshop the traffic impact fee, so keep an eye out for that coming up at the next meeting. Hopefully the next meeting. Funding, we've been talking about a lot of grants going around. We've been selected by DNR for I want to say it's $350,000 over 3 years. It's the community forestry program they have. It can pay for a parks employee. So we're gonna put in for that scope of work for a parks employee, and that'll really help out the general fund. So yeah, look forward to getting that through this next year. Other than that, I think that's everything.
Everything, Dana? I just have a couple things. This year, when Jessica went to the RMSA, which is the legal branch of AWC, we were recognized for our risk management efforts that contributed to an improvement in our liability claims experience over the past year. The awards acknowledge the hard work and dedication RMSA's members put into proactively manage the risk and keeping their communities safe. So we got an award for that. And I would also like to recognize Russ Avery, Director of Public Works, for his 1-year anniversary today.
Congratulations. Innovation's over.
That's all I have. Let's move on to audience participation. The City Council encourages public participation during meetings of the City Council and welcomes your comments. This time is set aside for you to speak to the City Council on any issue. The Council ordinarily takes non-agenda matters under advisement before taking action. You are also invited to comment on action items as they are considered during the meeting. Individual speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each in addressing the City Council. When addressing the City Council, please speak clearly and audibly and state your name and address for the record. Is everybody online? I'm all right to move forward. is 2024 property tax ordinance.
Alright, Ms. Tara will go over that.
So this is the first read of the property tax levy for 2024. As a reminder, council must adopt an ordinance in order to levy property taxes. You have the option of adopting a 0% increase or a 1% increase or anything in the middle. That regardless of what you choose, an ordinance is required for a levy and it must be adopted by the end of November and filed with the county. I've drafted the ordinance based on a 1% increase, as that's my strong recommendation for council. However, we can certainly modify this for next time, and when you actually adopt the ordinance, you can indicate whatever percentage council agrees on. So as drafted with 1%, the actual dollar increase over 2023 would be $7,083, so a pretty minimal impact on each homeowner. The 2023 median for the city of Algona was $47,000, so that would equate to a $3.69 annual increase with the 1%. So something I always think is confusing with this are actual levy shown in the ordinance is slightly less than 1%. That's because of the way that the county calculates the highest lawful levy. So in 2023, we had the highest lawful, which included new construction and the existing properties. We also levied administrative refunds, so we can capture those dollars, but it's not included in the highest lawful calculation, which is why when we take last year's levy and apply that against this year's highest lawful, it ends up slightly less than 1%. But rest assured, the way this is written will levy the maximum dollars possible, and new construction and refunds for 2024 are not required to be included in the ordinance. We add those to the certification filed with the county, but they do not require council action to be levied. Happy to answer questions on this.
And when does this have to be approved by, say, the end of November?
End of November, yes.
Well, they're earlier with it now, huh? Used to be December.
I know for the past several years at least, it's been a November 30th deadline that the county has. If they may have given leeway in the past, I'm not sure.
What percentage are we looking
This is drafted for a 1% increase, which is an actual increase of 0.918% over last year's highest level.
How will we do the 3-touch rule if we have to have this done by November?
at? Have a sneak meeting.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. Ever since I've worked with the city, we've only done 2 reads of this. The reason for that, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know on the budget calendar, we have it for the 2 November meetings, but we should have put it for the October one too. So I apologize, that's staff fault, we should have got it on the October 23rd meeting. So at this point, there's 2 options, we could do a special meeting to get a second touch, or we can waive the 3-touch rule.
Is today considered a first touch, or do we need to move that to an ordinance to consider it a first touch?
This is a first touch.
Just go in front of the finance committee.
We mentioned it in the finance committee, but didn't really go into depth.
What did you ask about the finance meeting?
Sorry.
Oh, somebody asked something, said something about the finance meeting?
I consider it the second touch. Yeah, I'm all for it. Just doing 2 touches on this one as well.
Okay. All right. I'm good with that.
We need to keep that in mind for next year.
Yes, yes we do.
So we can make that motion at the next meeting to move it from discussion to.
Yeah, we can do it now, or we can do it at the next meeting.
Yeah, we're gonna need to know what we're gonna wanna do. Was there I know the state legislature was playing with the thought of raising that bid. Was that tabled and it just not heard?
I do not know the status of that. I know it doesn't apply for 2020.
It's a legislative priority for AWC this year. It made it to the rules committee and it died in rules. So it can easily be brought back down to the floor for full debate. But it did make it out of committee and died in the rules committee. So not to get into minutia of the legislature, but it's still viable this year. And AWC has urged each city to write a letter of support, lifting the lid lift or at least adjusting.
I like the 1% myself.
Yeah, for many years we held it at 0. And, you know, I think the time has come, unfortunately, it's the same with all the other rates going off around here, that I think the city needs their general fund is struggling right now, so I think that 1% is quite needed.
I agree.
Looks like we'll bring it forward at the next meeting. This discussion item B would be the 2024 Olympic Environmental Resources Agreement.
Alright, so we do this every year. This is the agreement for Olympic Environmental Resources. They are the ones that do our recycling event every year. They also manage the grant that comes with that event. They literally do everything. They do the reporting, the coordination, application. So this is the agreement. Is there any questions?
Yeah, so it's nearly $16,000 grant. This goes strictly to the recycling event, is that correct?
Thank you.
Yes.
It does.
Yes.
Now, do we receive an invoice afterwards for any overages?
We haven't received any overages, the last, well, as long as I've been in the city also. I think they got it down pretty fat, honestly, yeah.
This looks like it's down to the penny here, so I'm just,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure
I
they
think he
didn't come
knows,
under at any point.
he knows how much to put into the grant for, and, yeah.
Okay.
I think Auburn just had theirs.
Yeah, just the first review.
Any other questions? Item C, the Algona Police Officers Contract Memorandum of Understanding.
Kate, what you have before you is a memorandum of understanding at the direction of the mayor and the city administrator. I negotiated with the Police Officers Association. Somehow in this new contract, it left off a clause that had been in previous contracts where I could give one merit step based off work performance. And for me, I want to reward good work, good hard work, right? Part of that retention is looking at how do we, reward hard work. And one of the best ways we can directly reward hard work and good work is with a merit step increase based off their yearly evaluation. So this was negotiated. They've already voted on it and agreed to it. It's just an amendment to Chapter 15 of their CBA, and we're bringing it to you. This is first touch.
I noticed this was dated 1/1/23 in the package.
No, that's a typo.
Yeah, so I just wanted to.
Yeah, date should be,
Somebody
there
circle
should
that.
not be a date on it until it makes it through the
Yeah.
second.
And then my other question is this per person or is it per one for the whole department?
Per person.
Okay.
So what I want to do is incentivize hard work.
Gotcha.
So does that go over the, like they got a step range? So if they're at the end of their step, if a year comes up, they can still get a merit raise on top of that?
No.
Okay.
It just moves them from like, for example, step B to C is a long time here. So if someone's performing at what I think is a step C level, I want to be able to move them from B to C. But once they hit E, they're topped out, except for longevity.
Yeah, because theoretically it takes 5 years to get to the end step.
Correct. A little over 5 years.
A little over 5.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Probationary,
Yep. But again, I'm thinking about retention. I'm thinking about, you know, I mean, we can't do much. We cannot compete with $25,000 signing bonuses or whatever federal aid's up to. So, or whatever, you know, we can't compete with that. But what we can do is make life a little easier for those people that are here so that they do get a little bit more in their paycheck, but the city gets something in return, a good work product. And we can prove that by looking at their evaluation, which I'm in the process of doing right now.
Any other questions? Item D is changed to WaFd Bank.
So our last finance committee meeting, I talked to them about going away from Umpqua Bank. We've had customer service issues, we're getting charged an arm and a leg. That intersection is horrible, and I really don't like sending staff to do deposits. So it makes sense to just find another bank to use. While I was at the conference in Spokane, the Washington Finance Officers Association, I actually met the director of municipality services. I might have that title wrong, but he manages all other cities for WaFd Bank, and he read pricing and talked about his customer service, not him directly, but you know, WaFd's customer service, and I see it being a viable option for the city. They can provide us direct deposit for checks. They'll give us a scanner. We can do check deposits right here in the office. We got a branch in downtown Auburn for cash deposits, and we can change policy to just do weekly deposits for cash instead of every day. The price, we come about right even and have the added bonus of direct deposit doing checks here in the office. So to me, it makes sense to make the move. I did some preliminary phone calls with like US Bank and Bank of America. I didn't get the good feeling like I got with WaFd Bank, so that's where we're at. The only thing we need to get started, if council is okay moving forward with it, is a resolution getting authorized signers and go from there.
Any questions? Item E, Auburn 2024 water rate.
Okay. So Auburn is raising the wholesale water rate by 2.5%. This ordinance is passing that cost on to the customer. The last water rate increase we had was effective January 22. So now we're doing another 2.5% increase. The typical utility bill with no extra consumption right now is $134.57. With the 2.5% increase, it would be $135.53. So we're talking about just under $1 increase. There is a typo on this agenda bill. You'll see on the next discussion item. For the sewer rate increase, it's actually 5.75, so just ignore that last line. So with, hold up, so with the 5.75 sewer rate increase, the total bill would be $140.10. Just to give you an idea. I think $140.10.
So you're covering E and F.
I am, I'm jumping ahead. For just water, for just this water ordinance, it would be
E and
I got a question on the water, the 2.5%. I mean, we've had, as Russ told us, we had 3 broken water meters or water lines this last week. Is just to push through the same cost, is that, I mean, are we banking any money to where we can make repairs?
We are, we're doing very well in our water fund.
Okay, because I just don't want to not have water one day.
Kind of important.
That's the second picture.
The second is bad, okay. All right, I mean, like Bill alluded to earlier, there's been so many years where we haven't raised anything, and you know, it's affecting the overall budget, so. But if we have enough in the water, then 2.5% is fine. Is that 3%?
You would say
It's
enough.
only 17 cents.
I mean, this year we took on a water main project. I mean, they're just finishing up. I mean, it's, that money's been sitting in there and should have been sitting.
That's a great.
Right, so we have the money that we earmarked for that, still sitting in that account. That water main project was due 2 years ago, 3 years ago, before COVID, so.
I just don't want the city, going backwards.
Anything else on those two?
So we're looking for about 550 increase starting January 1st.
And before we totally move on from sewer rates, there is more with that. So we just changed the rate in June this year. Catch us up, because there's been we did a 7.5% increase to get us up to where we should be. So just a heads up, and we did a little extra on that for sewer assessment, which I think we're gonna have planned this next year. Completed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly to your point, is we could do a little extra if you do wanna see some, more capital projects in the water.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily want to raise taxes, but I don't want, you know, if we're losing 3 water services a week, then, I mean, what we have in reserve ain't gonna last. I mean, I've only been here for 6 months, so I really don't know. I just ask questions.
Yeah, and until recently, the sewer rates were just passed through as well, but our sewer fund was lacking, and we had to catch up with it this last June, and this is just a modest increase over that as well, so that'll get our rate, be able to do a study and things like that to get that done.
Yeah, we definitely need to do an assessment, and then we can start working on capital improvement projects with the sewer, which has been lacking for quite a few years.
So now we have a sewer lift station that's needed.
We do need a sewer lift station to be
And we're good,
replaced.
one good backup from a big claim against the city.
So $140 a month would be the total bill.
Yes, yep. So if you did the 2.5 for water and 5.75 for sewer, it would be 140.10.
Item G is resolution 1266-23, Get Active, Stay Active King County Grant Agreement.
Alright, so this is the $5,000 for healthy living programs. The community center advisory board is going to decide on a program, so whether it's a Zumba class, fitness class, Skyhawks scholarship, what have you. Based on our last meeting, it sounds like they're leaning more towards a cooking class, because we've never done something like that, and so we're gonna give that a try. Yeah, any questions?
Great program.
Item H is Washington Department of Commerce Middle Housing Grant Agreement.
Alright, so Atwell put in for this 35,000, well, the state was pretty much handing this grant out, so this will help pay for the comprehensive plan work. They have to do the middle housing portion of it, so this will pay for that portion of it.
Any questions? We move to old business, which is the purchase and sale agreement.
Do you want me to go over it one more time?
Yep.
Alright, so in previous council and finance meetings, we talked about purchasing the properties in the north end of town, along Boundary and Algona Boulevard. There's three parcels to the west and 2 parcels to the east. The intent of these properties is to do more flood mitigating efforts. There's been talks of doing a retention pond. That was the big idea. We did talk to Stacy, the engineer, before even beginning this process, just to clarify if it's even possible, and she said it is. So if we come to the agreement at $915,000 with the seller, we do have the fund balance in store to be able to pay for this outright. We've had our phase 2 study.
We've had phase 1 done, we're working on a phase 2, next week, actually.
And then there still is a 90-day due diligence once we do pass this, if we do pass it. So if there's anything that comes out of the phase 2 that isn't good, we can terminate. That's pretty much it. Oh, some good news too, there's a King County Parks grant coming up, so if we wanted to do some park facility of some kind up there, there's funding available. That's gonna open up in December, and grant applications due mid-January. Side note.
So just to be clear, this is 100% funded through the storm drainage fund.
It is, yeah.
Won't impact the general fund until the parks amenities are put in, and then you got to make general maintenance at that point.
Correct, yeah.
Sounds like a good idea.
I'll make a motion to approve the execution of the purchase and sale agreement with Sun West Bank.
No second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes. Now we'll go for we're not gonna call it an executive session, we're gonna call it a closed session for the purpose of discussing personnel issues